Hi everybody. Recently I have been posting quite a few videos about the pelvis, and I would like to take a break from that for for a while and propose you something different, and then eventually I'm gonna go back to finish the videos that you requested about the pelvis and bending the torso, etc. Thank you so much for following me and for so many requests and interest in my videos. So what I would like to do today is discuss about the boxes, right? The boxes, or reducing the complex organic form of the body to basic stereometric volumes, right? So how do I obtain that? Well, I'm gonna show you that, right? So I have this figure drawing that I did some time ago, and what I do, I'm going to put tracing paper over it, right? Like this. And now I'm going to start encasing the organic forms in essential volume, right? So these essential volumes are going to be created by the maximum height of the figure, of the segment, or specific segment of the model. In this case, the head, right? So the maximum height, the maximum depth, and the maximum width, which I don't see now here, but eventually I'm going to see it from this angle in here. So, so now, once I have the maximum height in here, I can find the top of the head, I can find the bottom of the head, the face, the chin, and from the back of the head, I move down here to the level of the ear. When I'm at the bottom of the ear, more or less, I move in toward the jaw, right? And then I follow the jaw straight like this. So now, at the point where the brow ridge turns here and ends, that is more or less, with good approximation, the end of the frontal plane and the beginning of the side plane, right? So this would be the front plane, that would be the side plane. The neck comes down at an angle, and you want to make sure when you do this that the neck, the volume of the neck, will connect properly with the top of the torso. So you want to see if the center of the neck is aligned with the jugular fossa, right? So now let's block in the volume of the rib cage, right? So that at this level here, right, more or less just before the waist here, is where I still see with good precision the width of the rib cage. The rib cage from here will be covered, going up, will be covered with muscle, so the chest will widen up. But I want to find the volume of the rib cage, so that is more or less the maximum volume where I see it. I go up straight from here and up straight from here, and then so but here you see I see the side, right? I see the side, right? So I had to find, and in this case I'm going to kind of guess it, right? How deep this is, and if you see a little bit of a shade here and it disappears, I mean there's a turn from one plane to another plane. So I follow this, right? So you see that it is a fairly approximative, intuitive process. It doesn't have to be super precise, but it's an operation that the operation per se, what it does of doing this is it forces you to notice certain structural aspect of the figure. And even if you're not 100% right, that's fine, right? You're going to transform an organic form into a schematic view, and And that is the important aspect of all this operation, the transformation from one type of reality, let's say, to another one, because that way I am forced to analyze certain structural aspect of the figure. So now I find the iliac spines, right, and connect them. So that gives me the tilt of the pelvis. The back of the iliac crest, or the back of the box, is about at the level of the umbilicus, right here. And the iliac spine are down at an angle, meaning if I look at the box of the hips, of the pelvis from the side, the box is not like this, right? But is going to be like this, cut here. So I cut this off. Because what happened is, what I find here to the front is the iliac spines. And the iliac spines are about a quarter down from the top of the iliac, of the box of the pelvis, which is more or less the top, is more or less at the level of the umbilicus. So that's the navel, that's the iliac spine. At the lower quarter, I have the pubic bone. So now I finish blocking in the box, right? And the height of the box of the pelvis will be about one head, right? So I want to make sure I have about one head in measurement, right? And at the lower quarter, I block in the pubic bone, and here is the center, and this is the upper quarter, and at this level here is the part that I cut off, is this one at the upper quarter is the iliac spine, right? So now you notice one other thing, that the typical proportion of in women are going to be in the skeleton. We're going to have the rib cage, right? That is narrower than the pelvis, right? So this width in here in women is bigger than this width in here. In men is the same. So now from this point in here, what I do, I can connect the legs to the pelvis. Notice that I like personally to start with the axial skeleton, right? I always bother my student with this, but the axial skeleton is the dominant form, right? So everything else is attached to this. So you're gonna start with this, and then the rest goes attached to these three dominant forms. So axial skeleton, right? Okay, so the leg begins about halfway between the iliac spine and the pubic bone. So here, right, more or less here and here. And now I synthesize these volumes of the thighs as truncated cones here, right? Truncated cones. So I don't have to be too precise in terms of, I want to really synthesize the form. As I said, the operation of synthesis is what matters at this point in here. So now I could draw, so the genitals are going to be here, right? I could now draw the legs with 2 volumes or 3 volumes. I'm going to get 2 volumes in here and 3 volumes in here, okay? So let's look at 2 volumes. I start from the knee, right? I get down to the articular plane of the knee, and then from here I move down with another conical, truncated conical shape for the lower leg, right? And then at the level of the ankle, I block in the wedge of the foot. So drawing the foot as a wedge is very, very helpful in synthesizing the form efficaciously and maintaining a three-dimensional aspect of the limb. So in this portion here of the body here, on the right leg, I will synthesize the right leg in 3 volumes, right? So the thigh here, and then I have the box of the knee, right? So the box of the knee is going to be oriented in a peculiar way. So the inside of the box of the knee comes in at an angle like that. The outside goes down straight. What straighten up the lateral side of the box of the knee is the tendon of the bicep, which is from the back, comes forward and is on the side. From here, I can do the same thing I did in there. I can start with a conical shape, right, of the lower leg. And as I get at the ankle, I block in this case, the volume of the heel, and I build my wedge on top of that, right? So it's easy to do this when you draw the foot. Block in the volume of the heel and then block in the wedge over it, right? Because this will give you the true measurement, the contact with the ground, the heel. This could develop any direction. So I don't want to be concerned with this, right? Because it could be closer to me. It could, be parallel to me. It could be moving away from me. Makes sense? So I don't want to be, I don't want to go crazy trying to figure out what the foot is doing. I want to find out where is the heel. And sometimes you just guess it because it's hidden from in front of you, for example, by the foot. Okay, so now that's the box of the knee. Now let's block in the arms, right? So the arms are typically they start typically at the level of the jugular fossa, but in this case, with the arm the way it is, the shoulder is a little bit higher than that. See that? Because the arm is propped up. Not in this case in here. In this case, the arm is a little bit lower, right? So I look for the volume of the deltoid, and I kind of synthesize that with a spherical shape. So now here I have the block of the arm as a cylinder, right? And this is similar to what I did for the leg. I want to create a truncated cone for the forearm and down the hand like this, and then same thing for the other arm, etc. So now we have a cool rendering of the body that we could eventually play with. For example, if I want to study the light, I could imagine where the light is coming from and decide, okay, if the light comes from here, right, I'm going to have shading here, right? All of this is going to be shaded. Maybe there's some light from there because, this woman has no waist, so the light is going to come in from there. I'm just kidding. Let's put the light in there like that, right? So this maybe is going to be mid-value because it's a little bit probably tangent to the light, right? So I can really start speculating, right? And then introduce mid-tone instead of having just light mask and shadow mask, right? Here, so the light is coming from here, so probably this is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. Maybe some shadow here and maybe here, right? Who knows? Same thing here, spine, right? Front. And then in this case here, the thigh right here, thigh here, and here again, right? So why don't you try, have fun with this, right? And maybe get one of your figure drawings, put some tracing paper on it, and then try this level of schematization of the figure because it's fun and it really makes you aware of the various proportion of the body, how they relate to each other, and it's much easier to read the body like this and to capture the pose. And in fact, you could start a figure drawing, a long pose, with a little schematic rendering like that. Please let me know what you think about this video, and I'll see you soon.